Advent, Day 4, the Eternal One. Everybody we know had a beginning. It's one of the facts of life. We began when we were conceived. A few months later we were born. There was a time when we were not, and now we are. According to the Bible, that's not the same for Jesus. Yes, Jesus was conceived. He grew from a tiny group of cells in Mary's womb until he was born in Bethlehem and placed in a manger. But before any of that, Jesus was. In fact, before anything else, Jesus was. Towards the end of John chapter 8, Jesus is involved in a bit of an argument with the religious leaders in Israel. As was so often the case, Jesus was calling them back to God, but they were more interested in maintaining their empty religion. They're getting quite annoyed with Jesus. And they say to him, if Abraham were here, Abraham was a bit of a hero, the father of the Israelite nation. If Abraham were here, they said, he would be on our side because he's our father. He's our link to God. Rubbish, says Jesus. If Abraham was really your father, you would follow his example and you would love God, not religion. You're talking squit, the Pharisee said, and that's my translation. It doesn't say quite like that in the Bible. You're far too young to know anything about Abraham. You're not even 50 yet. And then Jesus says these amazing words in verse 58 of John chapter 8. I tell you the truth, before Abraham was even born, I am. Now at first glance it looks like Jesus was saying, I was around before Abraham. And of course he is saying that. But he's saying a good bit more than that as well. Do you remember the significance of I am in John's Gospel? The significance of I am in the Bible is perhaps the greatest name of God. What Jesus is in effect saying is, before Abraham was born, I am God. John tells us that the religious leaders picked up stones and they were going to start throwing them at Jesus. That was the traditional punishment for blasphemy, being stoned to death. But it was futile because you can't overpower the eternal God. It would take a while to dig deeper into this truth about Jesus. But John expresses it very simply at the beginning of his book, and we've read these words already. In John chapter 1, verse 1, we read, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Verse 2 says, he was with God in the beginning. Before anything else was made, before anything was made, Jesus was there. He was always there with God, as God. This Christmas, as you look in the manger, the baby looks like the newest thing in the room. Actually, he's the oldest, infinitely old.